Be brave, otakus, big, small, wide, and large, all over the world, and dedicate your hearts because the time has come to finally talk about the series finale of Shinjeki no
Of butt
Kyojin.
cheeks.
Damn you, Isaac. Hajime Isayama's Magnum Opus is officially over in both the manga and the anime. The anime's been out for almost 2 weeks now, and we wanted to have an in-depth conversation about it, but we didn't want to just have one or two people. We wanted the entire core Amateur Otaku crew present. Jamie, Mike, Isaac, we finally got together. We are all here to talk Attack on Titan. How we doing?
Man, it was a time. I missed the last episode, so like I didn't do special one with you guys, and so rewatching this series from beginning all the way to the end is something special, and it just cements that Attack on Titan is one of my favorite shows of all time and might be my favorite anime of all time if Cowboy Bebop didn't exist, of course.
1, 2, 3, let's jam.
3, let's jam.
You get it.
This is a very interesting. I like that we have like an interesting mix of people here, because all the three of us, Isaac, Mike, and myself, we read the manga, so we read the original ending as it came out. Some of us read the, I don't want to say bettered ending or the alternate ending that they became the canon ending at that time, a couple of months after the original release. And we have witnessed also the anime ending, which incurs within of itself its own changes, which I think are very substantial to the messaging from Isayama. But Jamie, you have been an anime-only watcher throughout this whole time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right.
So I kind of got to throw the ball at your court to start the conversation. Experiencing the ending for the first time, what are your first impressions? What are your thoughts? How you feeling?
It was, like Mike was saying, it was definitely a journey. I also rewatched the show from beginning to end for the finale. And I'm glad I did it because I feel like a lot of those like big emotional character moments probably wouldn't have hit as hard if I'm like, wait, who is this person? Or like, why is this important?
Because it's taking a million years to like.
Yeah, it's taken a very long time for us to get to this point. But the ending itself, it was epic. It was slightly confusing at times. It was weird.
Yes.
There are a lot of different things I feel about especially the special part, or special episode part 2. But yeah, I would recap it with those words: epic and weird and interesting.
Epic and weird is exactly how this ends.
No, that is actually a very, very accurate. I think those are all the feelings that you're meant to have at some point or throughout the entire thing as you watch it. Arkwinder joins us in the chat and says, Aaron, and now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. It's funny because if you look at the founding Titan, he looks like a curtain hanger. But, that's a different type of conversation. Isaac, we started covering this on the Amateur Otaku, I think even before season 3 came out, when we were reading the books and we were talking about it.
It was, and I know our pre-YouTube days. Well, yes. That was just anime, though.
Yes. So we've been talking about Attack on Titan for a very long time, and I know that we've already discussed our thoughts of the ending. So I'm gonna save your thoughts on the ending further on, because I really want to hear your thoughts on how the ending was altered or expanded upon and changed for the anime. But Mike, we never got a chance to talk to you about the ending. Now, I would like to know what your impression was when you saw when you read the ending for the first time, and now that you've seen the new one, or at least now that you've seen it animated, to not go in depth into details of the episode until we start that conversation. Impressions, thoughts, feelings.
Attack on Titan is an interesting series, right? Like the reason I read it, I didn't read the manga. I read like the last 10 chapters because it took so long for the anime to do the thing. So I think it was Attack on Titan.
You mean because it took like 5 different parts?
Yeah, like once we got to part 2, I'm like, yeah, screw this. I'm just gonna read the book. It's fine, whatever. And so, Attack on Titan is just a strange series in the sense that there's so many twists and turns that I don't know if any version of this ending, any ideas would have necessarily landed the way I would have wanted it to, because there's just one too many twists and one too many curveballs where it's like it's kind of hard to land the plane if you keep throwing things on the runway, you know? Like there's so many different things changing in Attack on Titan, even down to this last episode. There's a thing that's revealed that rubs people the wrong way, or some people embrace it. It's kind of like, okay, one last goodbye from Isayama of like, yeah, you thought you knew what was happening, but of course, as always, you really don't. So seeing the story play out and seeing that final arc play out was very, very unique, especially reading it, because I'm going to be completely honest, the art in Attack on Titan is not my favorite. I do not like this art style in the manga. So seeing it animated is
very peculiar.
It's very peculiar. Yeah, like the detailings in the face, the facial expressions, it's very otherworldly and a little off-putting, which again, very intentional. But seeing it animated all these years later, because I did not like the ending, I still don't particularly care for the ending, but I think the anime did the necessary changes to make it a bit more acceptable than what the original ending was. Because again, like you guys were saying before, there was the ending, and then there was the rewrite, then there was the bonus chapter. So it's like even my memory of that, of like I don't think I even remembered how Attack on Titan officially ended until watching this episode.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that about the art style, because that's one of those things that I enjoyed of the adaptation, is that MAPPA has gone out of their way to really accentuate Isayama's unique drawing style, especially in the way they do facial expressions, the way he does the Titans, or at least color grading. And I think the biggest thing is the eyes. The eyes are like very unique in Isayama's drawings. So I do appreciate that they've gone MAPPA and also Wit Studios did their best in capturing his peculiar art style. Now, it's funny because ever since we talked about it, Isaac, I can't say that we agreed, but I know that I always enjoyed the ending, even the original, because of the thematic elements that are on play. I think Isayama was very good in portraying those elements of what the main theme of the story was. Not that I agree with the decisions that certain characters make, especially that guy, but the core of the thematic choices, the core, I find the dialogue very philosophically interesting, and I did enjoy it. Now, Isaac, did you like the ending when you first read it, and now that you've seen the new one?
Honestly, I really don't remember if I liked or disliked the ending. I was more, okay, that was something, I think. Because, like Mike said, you really can't. I wouldn't say Isayama is exactly the same, but to some extent, it felt like. Have he taken a book from M. Night Shyamalan? Because it's
that came out
changed it up.
Damn.
I'm not saying that it's a bad thing per se, because.
So are we talking Unbreakable Shyamalan or
Unbreakable
or Last Airbender Shyamalan? I want to make sure.
No, don't say that name. Don't say that name.
It's two very different Shyamalans.
There is no Last Airbender movie.
There is no
But
more
what,
in Ba Sing Se.
Correct.
but what I'm trying to say is, I really don't remember what I thought about the ending back then. But this
Isaac, you guys reviewed it.
manga,
You could have just went back and listened to the episode.
had too much to do, too little time. But
Nope.
I did actually enjoy this anime ending per se, even though you can argue that I do remember, how should I put it? He had mentioned in the manga. I can't recall when. I don't remember if it's an anime also. But didn't Eren call Mikasa sort of like a mother figure to one point?
I don't believe so. I think the only
No.
direct the only
Okay.
direct comparison that Eren had ever done about Mikasa was when he actually calls her a slave. That is the only like everything else is just like offhand conversation, nothing really deep or meaningful. Which is one of the things that a lot of people hate about their relationship. Because it's severely one-sided and all the interesting conversations occur with Armin. It's either Armin or Mikasa and Eren and Armin talking. Not a really lot going on between Eren and Mikasa until actually these last couple episodes.
Okay,
I'd
wait,
argue
wait,
it was
wait.
always one-sided, and that's one of the biggest flaws of the entire series.
Yes, no, it's 100%.
No, now I remember what that's from. It's from an interview. In the past, Hajime Isayama has spoken about whatever Eren has developed more romantic feelings for Mikasa in the third volume of Kenkan Shingeki no Kyojin, and Hajime addresses the point blank, and you can read his response below. For Eren, rather than a lover, Mikasa's presence is more like a mother to him. The love towards a mother is considerable value. However, at the same time, there are annoying parts as well, laughs the creator said.
So,
Which makes a certain
It's-
reaction
it's a weird-
weird.
it's a weird, twisted Edible complex. Thank you for sharing things that ruin it for everybody. Now, I don't think that's really what he was going for. I don't think that's how it works.
No, I don't think. If you don't believe me, here's the link.
I'm
to
not
the
saying I
interview.
don't believe you. I'm not saying I don't believe you, but definitely towards the end of the book, we can see that changes a lot. Now, let's do what we came here to do. Let's go ahead and talk about the episodes. So, similar to what they did with the final season, part 3. Actually, wait a minute. They did part 1, they did part 2, but they can't call it part 3. So they say the final chapters because they don't want to keep saying part 3, part 4. So they call it the final chapters special 1 and the final chapter special 2. So the
That made no sense whatsoever.
Agreed.
It was an SEO nightmare for us, by the way.
Yes. I am glad that you can see that every single episode was extremely well drawn and polished, and like the best episodes we'll ever see of the series are the last 6. But yeah, it shouldn't have taken this long. So there's a total of 3 chapters that we get. Was this chapter 3, the Battle of Heaven and Earth? Chapter 4, A Long Dream. And then the final chapter, Toward the Tree on That Hill, which these chapter names are directly taken from the manga chapters. Now, that first chapter, I gotta say, I was one of those that had a lot of issues when most of the pure Titans or most of the Titans became mostly CGI, like towards the end of season 2 and season 3. Like, I wasn't a fan of the designs, especially in season 3. You can kind of see that they hadn't quite figured out how to blend all the drawn animation with those CGI models. Season 4, Mappa, huge improvement. It looked infinitely better. But I gotta say, am I the only one that felt that by the time that we get to these episodes, when they're fighting with all the generations of the pure Titans on top of the founding Titan, those Titans look fire. Like the CGI models look great, and they blend well with the environment. They don't distract you with how foreign they look. What do you guys think? Because that is the big chapter where we see all those battles and we see all the different Titans.
Yeah, I feel like by the end of the series, they really they figured out, like, I don't know if it was like a texturing thing or like what it was with figuring out how to like naturally integrate those 3D models into the show, but I think they did a much better job. I feel like even at the beginning of season 3, I was kind of leaving little comments here and there on my rewatch, and I'm not sure what was going on, but I felt like the animation was like kind of stiff, which is like thinking about Mappa. It's something that you would be like, what? Like, why Mappa doesn't do stuff like that? But I
I
was
think
kind of
season 3
seeing it.
was still Wit, right?
Yeah,
Season 3 was
Jamie's
season
referencing
4.
season 4. There's a lot of parts in season 4, trust me. But they took over in season 4.
Yeah.
I think. Let me look it up. But
Wit Studio
whatever.
did from 1 to 3, I think.
Whenever Mappa took over, that's like the part. It starts with like Gabby and Falco.
Yeah,
Those first few
season 4, part 1.
episodes.
Yeah.
Those first few episodes looked kind of not rough, but just not as polished as what I believe like Wit was capable of doing, which I really like Studio Wit. So maybe that's also kind of a contributing factor to me being like, oh man, like where's Wit? Where's Wit at? Why are we doing this right now?
Yeah.
But once we got towards the end of the series, I definitely didn't feel that way anymore, and it was I feel like they did a much better job, so I commend them for that. I don't know how the working like process was like, because Isaac posted in our
Toxic,
Discord.
we know that for sure.
Yeah, earlier this week they were talking about the animators were like not very happy with the working conditions, and some people ended up like walking out.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, so
no, and it's crazy because I find it very interesting because I think Attack on Titan as a series has a very interesting history, because a series of only, think about it, it's only 90 episodes long, give or take. It took 10 years to make it. Now, there is a huge gap between 1 and 2. I think there's like a 6-year gap between the first and the second season, and then it became a bit more streamlined. Mm-hmm. But still, it took. So they were in a particular position where most animes get a change in animation because it's getting a reboot, or because it's a separate project from the original, like a movie, where they have to make things a little bit fancier because they have a bigger budget. But with Attack on Titan, we've seen like how these studios have embraced changes in technology throughout its story. So I think it's one of those situations where like they took advantage of the technology as it was perfected, and I find that very interesting, and it makes them like a masterclass of developing technology. Because I would even say, I don't know, I don't want to say that I've read this, but towards the end of the final season, part 2, for example, when you have the Titan battles in Paratus before Eren acquires the founding Titan with Zeke, a lot of those, oh my God, I hate Didge. Thank you for coming. Don't do that. I don't think we need that. I think a lot of those CGI models were motion captures, because the added fluidity is very interesting. Because I don't think they're just plain 3D models.
I'm fairly certain that I heard something.
I kind of want to know
some form of motion capturing for.
Yeah, I kind of want to know
one of the
that answer
open.
What was that?
They are. I heard something about one of the openings had some form of motion and caption, but there was another
Well, the
name for it.
rumbling definitely has. The rumbling definitely has. That particular opening, the second one definitely has. Ditch on the chat says they're not letting this cash cow go.
I
Hey,
mean,
next
I
year.
argue that JJK is more of their cash cow than Attack on Titan.
Hey,
need
why have
multiple
one
cows,
cash cow?
man.
Yeah, when you can have multiple. Why have one cow when you
If
can
you
have a
can have a
herd?
stable.
Mhm.
But here's the thing, though. Attack on
They also
Titan
have
doesn't
One
want to
Punch
be
Man.
anybody's cattle. Get it?
Freedom. Ha.
Boo.
Yes.
So yeah, but regarding the animation style, the CGI Titans, yeah, you're right. By the end of the series, it really works out. I like Jamie. I very much preferred the Wit animation seasons 1 through 3 overall, especially like Mappa. Like Wit got better as time went on. So like season 3 is still peak Attack on Titan for
Oh,
me.
yeah.
Like that
Beyond the
is
CGI, like all
beautiful.
those scenes with Kenny against Levi, bro.
Yeah. And it's interesting because Mappa, the reason Mappa took over, well, one of the reasons Mappa took over was they wanted the series to be more reflective of the manga's art style. So that's why the character models are also like drastically different, because Wit's Attack on Titan it's not a one-to-one reflection of what they looked like in the manga, which is also kind of why it was very off-putting going from the anime reading the manga, because it's like, oh, you guys look very different. These faces are very different. They kind of softened up their features a little bit and made it
Not a lot of
less
lines underneath
creepy.
the eyes. Yeah.
No bags under the eyes. Though I would say that fits Aaron's character very well in the final season. He's just a tired dude. But regarding the Titans, I think it works. I also think it helps a lot in this last episode though, because the rumbling was a little weird in the sense that we had these colossal Titans just kind of walking in a straight line and it looks a little off-putting. But once we get the reincarnations of like the 9 other Titans and like seeing the female Titan, the cart Titan, the jaw Titan, like their designs are more interesting and their movements are more fluid and dynamic. I just think it lent itself better to be like, oh, this is way more appealing and looks less stiff because the giant fodder walking in the background of every episode was not, I don't think they put a lot of time or effort into that. It was kind of just like, yeah, copy, paste.
Yeah, that's our background. That's our video background on StreamYard. What's really the really important stuff is on top of the bones.
Oh yeah.
Watch it for those One Piece fans. A lot of people are thinking of Zoa when they saw the founding Titan of Zoo. We're thinking of Zoo.
He's got that long spine going or something, or
well, Zoo is this mythical giant elephant in the world of One Piece that actually has an entire island on top of his back.
Mm-hmm.
So similar to Aaron.
So he's a lion turtle. I get it. All right.
Yes. See, there's one in every culture or anime, apparently. So this episode was great. I love the pacing of the episode. I like the fact that we were able to fall right in, literally jump off the plane right into the action, right where the last chapter ended, which, by the way, it was a great way of closing out that first special and a great way of opening this one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jamie, I gotta put out there because I know you watched it for the first time. Was it stressful or was it disappointing? Was it stressful or disappointing that as soon as Armin gets there, the first thing he does is get captured, and everybody's freaking out, trying to like.
I actually, it was disappointing, but before I felt disappointed, I felt disgusted just because that like tentacle thing was in his mouth. And I'm like, why did he open his mouth? Like, why are we still looking at this? What is going on? Like, I just felt like we were looking at him like that for a very long time. But it was like,
and all the saliva, it was like very graphic. Yes.
it was a little bit
Isayama, you're telling us
disappointing.
something?
I mean,
Yeah.
but it was a little bit disappointing to see that like Armin kind of get taken away from the fight. But I feel like Armin usually isn't like a big contributor to fights in general. So
This is why
um,
he annoys me sometimes.
Armin's dead. Wait, damn it.
he's not dead weight, but you
No,
know,
he's not.
like he steps in and he has his moment when he needs it. So I'm like, okay, well, clearly, you know, they're not gonna be able to rely on the Colossal Titan for the moment, so other people got to step in and support this effort. Like yeah, I was a little bit disappointed, but not like, oh man, like what the heck? I want to see Armin like do stuff because I didn't think he was gonna do like anything that crazy anyway.
Yeah. When all the 9 Titans started showing up, I remember when I read that for the first time, and I started seeing like all the different Titans manifested, like the Beast Titan and stuff like that. Something that you can't really appreciate in the manga because it's all black and white. You can't really appreciate that they look different. Like you do see kind of like the fading in the eyes of the Titans, so you can't like really see life in them. But I appreciate that in the anime, they all have this bone-like shading structure, which again is part of the Warhammer's power, because that's really, in my understanding, how he's summoning all the old Titans. It's not just because of Ymir. He's able to do this because he has the Warhammer power. So just like the Warhammer summons weapons, he's summoning the old Titans. That's why they all look the same color as skin as the Warhammer Titan, which is something that you can't really appreciate in the book. So I really appreciated that here. And that's one of those moments that blew my freaking mind. And it's funny because it's one of those moments that you're like, well, duh, of course, we haven't seen all the others. Will be the time if we see the other Titans. Like, there wouldn't be any other moment to see the past Titans. So I kind of like that was the army that they had to face. And of course, them being in impossible situations, like that would be one way of putting people in impossible situations.
You
The
know,
Edo Tensei Titans was crazy, man. It was.
Yes.
I didn't even think about the fact that he was using the Warhammer Titan. I honestly was just like, oh yeah, he's with Ymir now. So Ymir's like, yeah, have all the Titans. There you go.
Ymir came out of the sandbox with a toy box, and like if Aaron was Andy, he was just playing with Buzz and Woody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like these are now at your disposal. Have at it.
I was not expecting to do a Toy Story reference, but
it was.
Oh, and by the way, I
interesting.
appreciate bringing the Naruto reference.
Yeah. There you go.
Well done.
I see it.
Now,
but it was also interesting because I didn't realize. I don't know. Yeah, no, I just didn't realize that Ymir died, and I was like, Ymir wrote a letter to Historia, talking about like wanting to be with her and all of that, but I didn't realize like she was dead after that. I'm like, why? I wish we could have seen something or like.
Well, that's
something.
the thing. I think we did see. There's a scene. It's very minimal. There's a scene there because apart from the fact, and it's more than just I'm looking for a word here. It's not insinuated that she's dead, but I know they said that when they introduce the new Claw Titan, there is a little bit of a flashback of Ymir with chains because that's the only way that they can get the Claw Titan. Somebody in Marvel, Ymir. So it is there.
It's weird having two characters with the same name, by the way.
Yes. And that's one of those things that I love about Isayama. Like, there's certain things that do come out of nowhere. We're looking at you weird centipede-looking creature that has spines for legs for some reason.
Oh, that thing.
But we cannot argue that he also knows how to plant seeds for the future. And he does a great job in setting things up little by little. And I do like one of those things that I love one of the little moments as soon as Armin gets captured, that you see Emir in slow-mo. Like she's there, but she's not there.
Yeah,
But
that's what made me think of her. I was like, wait a minute. I'm like,
Yes.
she's here.
yes, 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 she was there.
Mhm.
In spirit.
It
No,
literally.
in Titan,
Now,
I guess.
now I do like the fact that the whole episode starts with literally they're about to lose. Now, were you who here was surprised when Falco showed up as the Winged Titan? When you read that for the first time, Mike, what was your reaction?
They fly now? That was my reaction. I was just like, all right, sure. His name's Falco. I guess that checks out. The thematic resonance was there the entire time.
Did anybody catch the story reason though? Did anybody catch it?
It's because they said like he has memories from Zeke question mark about flying. It was memories from somebody about like
He was
flying and like
memories from
being
a
in the
previous
sky.
user.
Yeah.
Previous user, yeah.
And they're like, can you do that? And he's like, I don't know, maybe. And then he did it.
It's all about the memories.
It's one of those things where it's again like a little weird, and I think we could have found an easier way to introduce that element because it kind of feels like a Deus Ex Machina of we had to get them there so he can just fly out of nowhere.
Yep.
You know, and it's like,
No, and then Annie's discussion, like, yeah, he ended up doing it. So I was like, well, if he's going, I might as well go.
Yeah, that's a big turnaround for Annie.
Yes, yes.
She had to go see her mans.
Literally,
and actually,
his name.
Yes, it's plural. By the way, were we excited about Annie's return? I was. Were we? Isaac, were you excited that Annie came back?
I mean, define excited.
I didn't think I needed to explain myself.
Did you like it?
It was fun, and it should be on the last battle I argue.
I wasn't expecting this conversation to continue to derail itself.
Excited, adjective, very enthusiastic and eager. Example, they were excited about the prospect. There you go, Isaac. I hope you're happy.
I just love messing with Brandon.
Did you know that a secondary meaning for excited also means sexually aroused? Dictionary.com is funny.
It's in the dictionary. Now, I'm happy that we got all the Titans that were on our side there. We all knew from the beginning, like as soon as we knew that there were different types of Titans and that we had pure Titans and the 9 Titans, like when we started to know the difference, we knew that there was going to be a moment where we're going to have all of them in one place. Like we knew that was coming. I like the way that he set things up, Isayama did, where you had literally 3 of them with Eren, well, 4 of them, and the other 5 were on our side. Like I think that was a very nice balance. It didn't make a difference because they still needed the scouts. That's how powerful the Founding Titan was.
And he was just spawning a bunch of Titans. Like it wasn't just 5. He just kept pumping them out.
Yep. Yeah, it was like a factory of Titans.
Mm-hmm.
He was a technological marvel. Now, am I the only one that was very excited with Annie and Mikasa joining forces?
Were you excited or were you excited?
I was thrilled.
There's 2 definitions now, apparently, Brandon. I had to check. I had to ask.
I appreciate you keeping me in check, Genki.
That's what I'm here for. Well, no, yeah, it was awesome. That's a pairing. If you told me in season 1 we were going to get, I would not have believed you. That's how far this series has come from that point on. yeah, it was dope. Those are two of my favorite characters in the show. So seeing them team up is really cool.
The slingshot that they do is one of the best moves ever. And even in the manga, it was great. When it happened in the manga, I was reading it like, ah! And when I actually saw it happen in the anime, it was great.
Season 1, Annie was doing that to snap necks. Season 4, she's using it to sling Mikasa across the Titans. It's crazy.
Yes.
Character.
Is there ever a moment where the armored Titan is just not doing what he's supposed to do, and I don't know, have strong armor? Because every time we see him, he's missing pieces of his armor all the time.
It feels like Reiner got weaker and weaker as the series went on. Is that just me?
Reiner was getting destroyed.
Well, he got weaker and weaker, whinier and whinier. It's like
that part I get, but the weaker part is like, dude, come on, man.
I mean, let me put it like this: he's a rudimental breakdown that he wants to off himself at the beginning of season 4. For what we know, the strength of your Titan abilities could be connected to your mental strength and all that, yes, which go in line with him being weaker and weaker.
Maybe so.
That's a fair assessment.
I was also gonna say.
I appreciate that.
I was also gonna say, like, in the first couple seasons of Attack on Titan, you see like Bertolt kind of talking to Reiner and seeing that he's like got, I guess, 2 different personalities. Or
he's like losing it a little bit.
Or Reiner, he's like, one is like sympathetic and the other one's like, I'm a soldier, like I'm here on a mission. And I feel like after a while, like the soldier one was kind of like, he just kind of left and he just became like very sympathetic and very like, oh my god, I can't believe I did all this stuff. I
have a feeling that there's an anime version of Full Metal Jacket starring Reiner.
Maybe.
That's literally what that is. Now, if we go into the next episode, which is A Long Dream, because in reality, we got to admit, chapter 3 is just all the action. All the badass action, stuff like that. Then setting up the stage to blow off Eren's head out of the Founding Titan's body. By the way, Pike, like, so many of us were sleeping on the cart Titan, and they so greatly introduced the cart Titan. Like, oh, look, it's a Titan. Oh, that's a bandwagon. All it does is just carry stuff for people. Buddy, like, she's just awesome. I got to give her kudos because
she put in work.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Yep. She was listening to Rihanna the whole time. Now, Long Dream, Armin's conversation with Zeke. To me, the biggest thing is, of course, I don't know if you guys caught it, is when he wakes up Zeke, and then the Beast Titan starts fighting on their side. And then you have other Titans that fight at their side. Did you guys recognize all the Titans that showed up? Because there's 2 of them that if you really don't pay attention, you don't know who they are. But I liked it because for the first time, not even in the manga, like on the anime was the first time that you knew who they were. So can you guys name what Titans that we know appeared in that scene when he wakes up the other Titans to help them out?
I recognized a few of them, but it might just be cleaner for you to list them instead of us trying to guess.
So we see Ymir. We see Ymir's Claw Titan. We see Marco and Galliard. So we see the 3 different Claw Titans that we know. We see Berthold, right? We see Grisha, Eren's dad's there.
Yeah.
We see Krieger, which is the one that I was very surprised that was there. And for the first time, we see Mr. Kasaver's Beast Titan, which is the guy with the big ram head. Which, to me, I was very excited because you see so many different Titans in the manga, but you can't really list them out. The anime really took the time for you to see everyone in the paths as Armin and Zeke were asking for help, and then you saw the actual Titans fighting, which to me was one of the beauties of adaptation, because I was able to enjoy that moment even more. Do we feel
Yeah.
bad for Zeke? I do want to ask that question. Do we feel bad for Zeke at all?
Honestly, I feel pretty good for Levi. I didn't even think about Zeke.
Shout out to
I
the
like,
homie
you know
Levi.
what? He did it. I like, this wasn't really the best time, but he did it.
He saw an opportunity and he
Yeah.
took it.
He's like, did you see that, Erwin? I got him.
That was the greatest turnaround in a question I've ever had in my life. It's like, do we feel bad for Zeke? We felt good for Levi.
The Zeke thing is so strange, and that's just again the inversion of season 4 of Attack on Titan, and like somehow the people who were the enemies are now the good guys, and it's like it got to the point where we get to the end of this entire series, and it's like, you know, Zeke had points. He may have been right. We probably should have just did his plan. And so to see him get like this enlightenment after talking to Armin and immediately get cut down, it's just like, yeah, that's Attack on Titan for you, right? Always subverting your expectations. You thought we were going to get a Levi Zeke team up. That would have been crazy. But no, of course not. We're not going to do that.
See, it's funny that you say that, because you mentioned Zeke's plan.
Is it funny? Funny how?
Yes. Are you a clown? Hey, you brought Goodfellas. I did.
Yeah, you got the reference. I appreciate it.
Hey, that's what we're here for. I see a small flaw with Zeke's plan, and I want to know what you guys think.
Okay.
Because his plan was the euthanization plan, blah, 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 right? But there's still two people that can turn that entire thing around if they ever got their hands on the founder. And I don't think Zeke knew about them or thought about it. Because, you know, the whole point was that he was going to eliminate the Eldians' ability to procreate, right? Mm-hmm. So that way, no procreation means no Titans. At some point, we'll all be free from life and from the Titan curse, blah, 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 right? But I don't think he knew about Historia. And I don't think he knew that Historia had a baby on the way, which prolonged the royal family. What was going to happen when he died? And then suddenly, oh no, we want to be able to grow this family. Let's just get the founding Titan and reverse this. You know, do a little Missy Elliott to this plan. And that would have been something that I don't think he thought through. I wonder if that's, I'm not justifying Eren, but I wonder if that's the kind of information that Eren withheld, apart from the fact of what he wanted to do. But
you see, go ahead. Sorry, finish your thought.
No, go ahead. I'm just spitballing. That was just something that I just thought about that I never begged to question.
There's not plot holes, but like there's no plan is 100% perfect. But if I had to choose between this and wiping out 80% of humanity, you know,
I agree.
Zeke's the easy call. I know, yes. But I'm just saying, like, even in this thought experiment, it's like there is no world where I'm not choosing Zeke's option over Eren's. So it's like, I don't know. But yeah, Eren probably withheld information like that because, of course, he would.
Yeah. And he was like trying to protect Historia too, so who knows what Zeke would have done if he found out, like, oh, there's another descendant of the royal bloodline. But I also thought about it. Maybe there's 3 descendants, because there's like Historia, her baby, and then Zeke's mom that was somewhere out there in the wild, maybe still kicking, the Titan that killed Eren's mom. I don't think they ever got her.
No, I think, no, doesn't Eren No, Eren directs her. He doesn't kill her.
Yeah, he doesn't kill her.
No. She gets killed. Because remember, in season 2, she appears. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody out there. In season 2, at the end, in the finale, when Eren is with Mikasa, they have no more weapons. He can't transform. He has no arms. He has little stubbies or whatever.
Mhm.
Zeke's mom's Titan is running towards him and is about to kill him. And when he actually punches her hand, he activates the coordinate for the first time, activating the power of the founding titan for the first time, and he directs all neighboring titans to destroy her.
I do remember that happening.
That's how they survive.
See, but then does it work so that if they ate her, do they now have some remnants of the royal bloodline? So really, what happens is it didn't get divided and multiply.
I know enough to know that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. But no, that's a good point. That's a good observation.
Maybe.
I mean,
I don't know.
Now, when we heard Ymir's backstory, because this is the first time that we see it and listen to it in detail, in terms, because we know Ymir's story. We found that out, I think it was season in part 2, right? When you're having the whole memories of the future moment in the past.
Yeah.
We know her story, but we know now. Well, actually, no, I'm going ahead of time. That's in the last episode.
It's
I'm
fine.
gonna slow down.
You know, we got to get there. If you
some
want to do
point.
it now, we can do it now.
Yeah. Isaac, should we do it now? No, I'm not gonna ask you. You get all excited.
Excited or excited?
Way to keep the joke
What
going.
have you done, Mike? What have you done?
This all is Isaac's fault for making us define the word excited. Nobody else asked that question.
And now he remains quiet in excitement.
I'm just laughing and while being muted for some reason.
So we have all the old Titans show up. They're helping out. The plan works. They're able to blow Eren's head off the Fountain Titan and cut him off the royal family bloodline key, which is Zeke, because Zeke literally, I like his introspective, like the idea of. See, those are the kind of philosophical, thought-provoking moments that I like about the show, because the one thing that he did not consider in the euthanization plan is that part of what he's thinking is the idea that fear is what drives most humans. To fear of death, fear of things is what drives humans to kill themselves. I mean, or to kill other humans to survive, and also to multiply. And instead of living a life by fear, the best way is to let's not let fear continue to ruin our lives. Let's not procreate anymore. Let's end our bloodline, because all we're going to do is add fear and turmoil to the world, right? But the whole idea that he missed the idea that some people have fear of things, but sometimes when they find beautiful things in their lives, when they find things that have meaning, they substitute the reasons for fighting. So you're no longer procreating because of fear. You're no longer living because of your fear of death. You're living to protect the things that you love. You're living to protect the beautiful things in your life. And that's why he goes to Kasera and goes, I liked our plan, but if I could have just played catch with you one more time, I would have traded everything for that, just for that singular moment. To me, that's pretty beautiful. You know, it's pretty poignant, and the idea that when he comes out of the Founding Titan, he goes, maybe this view is the best I can get. I don't deserve this because after killing so many people. And then he starts calling Levi. You
You
know,
can say that his plan was catching up to him.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
You could say that.
But that's
He's
so
not
I have
wrong. That's the thing.
so I have a thought, and I want to know your idea of this. From that idea of fear, that idea of fear, I think that is Isayama talking to us through Zeke, because in my mind, the pure Titans are a embodiment of that idea of living in fear. Because what happens when you are so afraid for your life because you're in danger because of other people? What do? You become a monster and retaliate against that other person. And you destroy and you cause havoc because you fear that you're going to be harmed. So it makes me think that the Titans kind of symbolize that fear manifested. Like the Titans are those monsters that we see, that we create to protect ourselves when we're afraid, which is kind of what the Eldians did, what's kind of what Emir did, because the whole reason when she got that weird thing attached to her, she was afraid of dying.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to live. So she became and gave birth to these monsters. Like, you know, you see, I'm a cooking. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. You become the very thing you fear at some points. And like Eren becoming a Titan in season 1 harkens back to that same idea, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
becoming the monster is kind of the entire thesis of Attack on Titan, even down to Eren becoming the villain of the story, essentially.
Yeah.
He lived long enough to become the villain.
Yep. Yeah, and that's one of those thematic full circle moments that I enjoy of this anime, of this story, because it goes back to the whole thing, and it actually is revisited when Armin and Eren are having that final conversation. You know, in the final chapters, 2 or 3 on the hill, is when they go back to that conversation where they go back to this dream sequence, where they kind of go through their entire lives in a span of 30 minutes, which I find that to be very visually and beautifully appealing. When that was happening, because this happens, I kind of forgot the timeline. That's the final chapter of the manga. That's how the manga ends. It starts with that conversation. Now, interestingly enough, this particular episode is where the changes to the ending begin. Now, before I dive into this, because I think this is how we're going to close the conversation, of course, it's final chapter. About that final battle, then knocking Eren's head off, the weird wormy thing, founding Titan power coming out. When everybody else becomes a Titan, what was your first reaction?
Oh, they're dead. Yep. Yep. I'm like, well, they have to die. I'm like, damn, I didn't want to
That
see them
was-
go out this way.
It kind of harkens back to
that
the
was-
beginning of the series, right?
It
Mhm.
it
It takes you
does,
back.
but it was interesting watching that episode with Jamie, because that was literally her reaction, like, "Well, we're screwed.
Yeah.
It's over."
I'm like, they're gonna have to die now. That sucks.
Honestly,
Sorry, Connie.
See, I have a theory. I'm like, why didn't Falco? He could have sat down on that like plateau thing, just flap his wings and push the little gas away. You know, just keep pushing it away.
Falco,
Try and
use
figure it
dust.
out. Yeah, exactly.
Come on, Tulin, you got this.
honestly, I don't know if you have heard of it, but his original idea of an ending was that, well, essentially everyone was supposed to die. Everyone was gonna win. And I was just thinking, when I saw that part, I'm just, oh, so he's going for it then? Kind of deal, because I didn't know that they were being able to revert to humans, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, I didn't know they were gonna be able to do that either. I thought they were done. Yep, thought that was it for 'em.
It
Kinda
wouldn't be
was
the
sad.
first time either, though, because like we saw Commander Pixis, like what 5 episodes
Yep.
ago, also sacrifice himself and turn into a Titan. We saw
Mhm.
Hanji in the previous episode literally
Mm.
die and get like
Yeah.
incinerated.
Burnt.
So yeah, so seeing them turn into Titans, it's like, yeah, the show kind of set us up for that. It's the
Yeah.
same for me. That's more shocking.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
honestly.
fact that this is the first time that they get turned back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that
I
there's
was
an
thinking
escape.
like most people were gonna be dead by the end of the show, so I'm surprised with how many people live.
Yep. And that's
I'm
the kind
not.
of
20% of humanity is all that's left.
yeah, a lot of people died.
Yeah, I mean the main cast.
See, and that's the kind of thing that I found fascinating in their choice when they did like the first special, that we had a good taste. Like it was actually like 5 minutes long, I think, of how much damage the rumbling was actually doing. And also at the end of this episode, which the manga did not express clearly enough, like the anime goes out of its way of also highlighting to Armin how much destruction Eren actually did.
It wasn't like that.
She
Damn.
really
Like that.
channeled her inner Eren Yeager right there. I swear.
Listen, I
Only
was
the
just-
people I care about survive. That's all that matters. That's exactly how Eren
those
is.
the only people I have connections to.
That's
Exactly. Like I think we need to change backgrounds. I think you just have to have Eren back there and just
I didn't want them to die.
Eren either, and that's why they're alive. But yeah, that was one of those moments where yeah, you thought it was just gonna end horribly, right?
Yeah.
And everybody turns into a Titan and they're fighting, but you start having these dream sequences, which are not really dream sequences. They're memories
Mm-hmm.
within the paths. Because apparently Eren has been playing Sandman and it's literally been visiting his friends and having conversations with them and then locking these conversations into a pocket of their spirit or something. I don't know. They don't explain it, but that's all that makes sense to me. It's very interesting because we know that all the Eldians are connected, and we know that one of the powers that Eren has as the Fountain Titan is to rewrite memories, to rewrite history. And I like the fact that he uses it in a way that moves the story forward, but also justifies why we're seeing this now and not before. So I kind of like the idea that, unlike most shows, we didn't have all the guns and ships and everything in the end and it ended. We actually had a time to dial everything back down and have a conversation to close it out, which is what the show did. And it was what the book did as well. Right? Because it was in the penultimate chapter that we see Mikasa putting the scarf back on, and her last act of love was ending Eren. She was willing to she was afraid of losing the person she loved, but she still did the right thing, which is what sets her apart from Ymir, who was a slave to her love for King Fritz for the longest time. Go ahead.
While kissing his decapitated head.
Oh God, why did you remind me?
That was a
I
thing that
legitimately, I blocked
We
it
don't.
out.
We don't have to like it. We don't have to like it, but
We don't. We certainly don't. We certainly
we
do
don't
not.
have to like it. But Ymir liked it because he was smiling.
She's a freak. There was nothing right about that.
We need to address. we need to address the elephant in the room of how weird this last part of the episode actually is. Because I feel like that's where a lot of the animosity and a lot of the problems that people have with this ending kind of stem from, is that why is she kissing the head? Like, we just got to put that out there. That's weird, dude. That's really weird.
It's weird. It is weird.
I mean, honestly, I feel like the weirdness starts even before the head, because like them jumping into this like dream sequence where he's talking mainly with Armin, but then you see he's also talked with everybody else. It felt kind of abrupt to me, and I admit, like, upon reflection, like I feel similar to like what you were saying, Brandon, about like kind of winding down the series so that we could have like a really good finale instead of like all the action, like, oh, it's over, okay, goodbye. Like, I think that was a effective way of winding down, but I was also still very confused and like, what is going on?
Yeah, because it's like,
what is happening?
It's in the mouth. You got the colossal and the Super Saiyan Attack Titan, because it's it's the Attack Titan with the body of the colossal for some reason, right? The colossal Attack Titan.
Now that's a fight that's kind of weird looking.
Yeah, it is, because you got two colossals just fighting. What am I watching here? Seeing Mikasa in season 1 with the praying mantis.
From kid to the adult. Yeah.
Oh boy, there you go, science. There's a scientific explanation for everything. I hate it.
Sure. So do I.
Even though it makes all the sense in the world. But
nope.
The idea makes sense. I'm not saying that they should. I'm not justifying the kiss.
So the kiss kind of personifies, though, everything that I hate about Mikasa as a character, which, again, I love the character of Mikasa for 3 seasons. Season 4 is when they really start to piss me off with how they write her, because her being in love with Eren being like the only family she's ever had, I totally get that, and her wanting to save him and her not wanting to kill, like, I get all that. Why do we have this? We introduced this attachment of like, like her bloodline is why she goes so hard for Eren, instead of like making it just a natural thing of like, she loves Eren. We have to be like, oh, see, there's a scientific reason behind this. That's another twist where it's like, why are we adding?
There's 2. Yeah, they're not differentiating the 2. They're just mixing them together, and we're meant to believe that it's either one or the other, or they're not.
Yeah, and it's weird. And then we have the kiss, which is just like, Mikasa still hasn't let Eren go. It's like, even though she did it, she still hasn't let go of Eren. It's like, why? This man is a monster. He called you a slave. He mistreats you. He mistreats Armin, and they never properly develop her character enough to justify her attachment to Eren that way. Because at this point, her and Armin have been best friends just as long as she has been friends with Eren. So I feel like their bond should have gotten tighter over time, and like, we can explain like the distance between the two of them and Eren, as opposed to them both being down bad for this monster.
I think it's also, but I think I agree that it's not all necessarily fleshed out. I do have to agree with that. But what I do have to say, I think they just silently went with the kind of, I don't want to use the word Stockholm approach.
No, that's really what it is with her and Ymir. That's what it is.
The whole thing of
Ymir for sure.
The whole thing of, this is the man that saved my life when I couldn't. And that's the moment where she just grew attached, thinking that this would be and I think that's also part of the reason of why her and Ymir are meant to be somewhat mirrors of each other, like what you were saying, and why Mikasa was able to do what Ymir couldn't. Mikasa was able to kill her,
but then she makes out with the head, and that's my point of like, we almost did it, but it's like, no, she still has some sort of attachment to him, and then she's at the grave with him every freaking day, dragging her husband out here to see her dead boyfriend. It's a lot, man.
Did
It's a
we
lot.
see her being married and this and that?
Yeah, you see where the kids on the credits. You see it like with family and their kids or whatever.
They don't show the
in
guy's
credits.
face, but if you recognize his hair, it's definitely John. Yeah.
You think it's John?
That's what the internet's
Pretty
been
sure,
saying.
yeah.
Damn.
That's
He couldn't let
been
the Garen go
consensus
either.
for like 3 years.
That's why he took his girl. I come. I'ma see your girl.
Yeah, exactly.
So we hate the kiss. No matter how thematically relevant it might be, we hate it. Now, moving forward to the conversation with Armin and Eren. The first change that they make is that in the book, we talk about the genocide and the percentage of people killed from the very beginning. And we kind of don't touch it again until the end very lightly. We eliminate that from the beginning of the conversation. And we work our way up to that in the uptick at the end of the conversation. And to me, that's very thematically relevant because, Jamie, you never read the original manga ending. The entire conversation that occurs with Armin and Eren is the same, except after Armin punches Eren because he's talking about Mikasa or whatever and calling him pathetic and all that stuff. From the moment the ocean turns red, which wasn't in the manga that I remember, that entire dialogue is completely different and expanded upon by almost 2 minutes. So in the original ending, I think Mike, you posted it on the chat on Discord. Like literally, that's all the conversation at the end is. I'm gonna make sure that the massacre that you did doesn't go to waste or whatever. That's kind of where that conversation ended. Now,
Eren, thank you for turning yourself into a mass murderer for our sake. And that right there is the entire assassination of Armin's character. So I'm glad we changed that.
So now, the way we change it is that Eren assumes responsibility of everything. But Armin shares responsibility in a way as well. Which to me, that was a very fascinating switch. And it also deals with the trouble of the idea of our main character committing genocide to this point, but understanding that it's not the right thing to do anyway, no matter how strong your points are. But it also gives you a window onto one of the problems of society is like Eren was a slave to freedom to a point where he was willing to sacrifice others' freedom so that his people would be free, which is not the right thing to do. He became exactly as the Eldians. But then he says the crazy stuff where he goes, I don't think it was Ymir. I think that if I had a choice, I would still do it. I would still kill 80% of the people in the world. Which is funny because even though it's so horrible and the wrong thing, thematically for Eren's character, you know how a lot of people were complaining or surprised on how much Eren changed in season 4? Like he was a completely different person or whatever. I like how this particular moment solidifies that he wasn't. He did grow. He did mature as a warrior. But he was still the angry little boy that did not want to be cattle behind walls. He never matured beyond that rage. He just learned to weaponize it. And when he actually says that I am the result of a fool that gets a hold of power. And how many times throughout history have we seen that? So I applaud the way they presented that in the ending. And I think
it's also a massive Evangelion reference, if you didn't notice. Because they're sitting in the red solution pool of blood. That's not in the manga. They're sitting in a field. Like
Yes.
in the footprints of the Titans. That's another change I think is fascinating, where it's like
right. That
the hammer home a little bit
footprints.
harder.
Yeah, the footprints of the Titans are not filled with puddles of blood. Yeah, that wasn't there. And then this other line wasn't there either, where Armin goes, I'm partly responsible for this too, because I fed you dreams of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I fed you with knowledge. I fed you with ideas. And when he says, I will meet you again in hell, my friend. Like, Armin didn't kill all these people. And Armin never motivated Eren to do all this.
Nope, that's why this whole scene is...
Well, not directly.
What was that?
I'll say not directly. It was kind of like, you know, Armin was saying,
not even indirectly. He didn't. But he's saying that because he loves his friend. Yeah. That's really the reason why he's saying that. And because he has to play with the lie without accepting that he was done. Like, because he's not going to tell the world, oh, Eren actually did this for me so that I could be the hero. So that's kind of also where Eren's saying he's going to meet him in hell. It's because he has to propagate the lie of what Eren did, the truth of what Eren did. Because only him and Mikasa and some of the scouts are the only ones that know. But you were going to say, Jamie?
I feel like he did kind of have a part in like Eren wanting to do all of this, just because it's like, you know, the idea of seeing the ocean, seeing these other creatures, seeing lava, is like what inspired him. Like, I have to get out of these walls. Like, the life inside the walls is not worth living, kind of thing. Did he like tell him like, hey, we should murder a bunch of people to get to do that? Like, no. But that was ultimately the path to like get to that point. So he was like,
I don't know if I buy that though entirely, because like Jamie, if I said, hey, let's go to Japan next year, that's not me telling you to kill your way to Japan next year, you know?
That's what I'm saying. Like, he didn't tell him to kill a bunch of people, but he set him on a path that's like, okay, I want to get outside the wall, so I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna do this thing. Okay, I've hit a wall, so I've hit a roadblock, so I have to kind of get around it. And now it's kind of got to the point where it's like we got so far away.
Was buildings and babies and people. Like, no, that's not how this works. No, but again, I think this is your main complaint, right, Mike? Like, the only reason Armin is saying those things is because he cares for Eren more than anything, but also because he's allowing himself to be complicit to Eren's actions, because he's still going to end up doing what Eren, in a way, opened the path to do. But I want to hear it from you, not from me. I don't want to try to decipher anything. Because you clearly said that this is why the ending is bullshit. Please talk. And then Isaac.
It's just dumb. I'm sorry. It's dumb. Like, Mappa tried to fix it. And I'm sure Isayama had a hand in helping like reshape this scene so the intention is more clear. But it's just dumb because we also skimmed over the fact that Eren is having this mental breakdown of like, I want to be with Mikasa. I want her to mourn me 10 years after I'm gone. And it's weird. Like, it's all weird. And the justification is Eren at this point has ascended to a point where he's existing at all points of his life. He is 10 years old. He is 30 years old. Mentally, he is broken. He is gone. I get it. But also, you took this character who was the protagonist of the series all this time, and then this entire final arc is also very, very strange. It's like, yeah, Eren's now the villain, and he wants to cause the rumbling, and it's like, okay, Eren has gone crazy, but subsequently in doing so, everyone else around him has also gone crazy, because there's no way Armin would be okay with anything that has happened up until this point. And in this scene, you can say Armin has to accept the lie. It's like, yeah, but that just means Armin's weak, because in the original ending, he thanks Eren, and in this ending, he doesn't, but by accepting responsibility, he's still kind of like dismissing Aaron's role of like, Aaron, I was partly at fault too. And it's like, no one told Aaron to do that but Aaron. And Aaron even reveals that by saying, I sent the Titan to kill my own mother, to set me on this path, to complete this crazy, dumb time loop. And it's like, what would life have, like, the show doesn't say what life would have been if that never happened. If Aaron's mom never gets eaten by Titans, do they just live happily in the walls? I don't think there's enough in the story that justifies this ending, and it hurts the character of Armin. It hurt the character of Mikasa, which we just talked about earlier. So you're left feeling empty because Aaron was already far gone. Like, I don't care what's happening with Aaron. It's more of what we're doing with Armin as a character, because we sacrificed one of a fan favorite character in Commander Erwin to save Armin. And there's nothing that ever happens from that point to me that justifies saving Armin.
Except the conversation at the end.
He beat him at the end.
Is that the conversation at the end where he prevents the Marlians from killing everybody? Oh, not even that? Okay,
yeah, that's a callback to season 1. Well done. Good job. Yeah. At that point, I don't care, because this man just thanked a mass murderer who killed 80% of humanity. And
he didn't thank
could
him.
have just
the correct ending. He didn't.
Sure. And this ending, sure, he didn't, but it's still not that much better in my book. And Aaron could have just wiped out all of humanity. The problem with that too is that we get the end credits and we see the future and we see the wars and we see this loop start over with the kid going to the tree. And it's like, what was all of this for? What was all of this
we don't
for?
know. We don't know if this kid gets Titan power for going to the tree. Okay.
Yeah,
we don't know if that's happening.
I don't know what happens with that.
Stop it.
No, I don't think so.
I'm just saying the loop starts over because war keeps going. Whether it's Titans or whether it's something else, the point is
that's just
keep on going.
Human at that point.
But at that point, like, why doesn't Aaron just wipe out all of humanity? Because they're going to attack Paradis, whether that's in 10 years, whether that's in 100 years. And real world wars have shown us that, of like, yeah, they'll come back to get you eventually. And Armin stopping the threat for 20 years, maybe talking them out of it, doesn't change anything. And so it makes the entire series feel pointless. Coming from somebody who just said this is one of my favorite shows of all time, that ending did so much damage to these characters that I love in this world that I love, and none of it feels justified. I'm done. There you go. You can have the reins back, Brandon.
I don't want them. Isaac, how do you feel listening to Mike's mind? What is your take on the changes? Even though you don't remember what they changed, but go ahead.
I mean, I might not hate the ending as Mike is putting, but I can certainly see where he's coming from. But on the flip side, we have to remember, humanity is a very, very naive species and all that jazz. And if we can think that we can solve something big now, but don't realize that we have to keep on building upon it to keep it all going. And that's what I think the lesson at the end is meant to be, because it's all good that we claim that we know about it now, but we have to keep working on it, sort of not forget about it. History repeats itself if you forget what happened years, decades, etc. In the past. So I think the fact that it ended sort of like a it didn't really become ceasefire at the end, and wasn't oh, it's all good now. I honestly think it fits the story better, but at the same time, as Mike said, I can understand or should I say, I can understand the frustration. What Mike said.
Mm.
What I like about the ending the most is that, in a way, Aaron still got what he wanted, which was giving his people a choice and not allowing them to be at the mercy of others.
By robbing every other soul of that choice.
Agreed. Which is the worst thing that could have happened. But that's, to me, what I find interesting. That in a way, Aaron still got what he wanted, and that everybody had the choice to either do the same atrocities that Aaron did or do something different. And then Armin and the scouts that remain do try to do something different. And that we are not led to believe that it worked. We're led to believe that everybody made their choices and they were meant to live with those choices, which is why we see civilization rise and fall, because it's all about the choices that the different leaders and people make, which is what allows society to survive or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find that
I looked it up, by the way, just for clarity's sake. The ending is supposed to be open-ended of, does that kid get Titan powers or not? That's the question Isayama wants you to ask.
Is he gonna eat some?
Because
that's
how it started. That's how it started. You know, I don't know, but like, it's supposed to be open to interpretation. You can know that he doesn't, but the point is, like Isaac says, history repeats itself. The cycle continues, especially since Eldia is destroyed up into that point. So it's not like anybody's alive to remember what happened with the Titans in the first place. So that, again, is still part of my issue with that ending of, like, you set up all these big ideas, but you don't take a stance on any of them. And that, to me, is
by the way,
the biggest travesty of it all.
So the original ending doesn't have a flash forward.
Right.
Which, again,
that's why I think the new ending is kind of worse.
I don't disagree. I like all three of them, because the one in the manga ends with, like, reincarnations of Eren, Mikasa, and Armin watching a movie in the theaters, which was really weird.
Oh, wow.
I missed that one. But, man.
Yeah, it was really weird.
They're like, wow, this Titan movie is crazy.
Yeah,
Nani?
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
No.
Isaac, I can't.
Isaac is shook.
Okay, I'm about to do it. So
talk
amongst yourselves about the credit scenes, or why I looked this up.
While he does that, Jamie, what were your thoughts on this ending?
Yeah, I thought this ending was kind of all over the place. Like I was saying, like, it starts where I guess closing out the series starts with, like, the dream, and the dream is kind of all over the place. And I didn't get the chance to mention this myself, but you mentioned it, Mike, about how Eren is like, oh my god, like, I kind of like Mikasa, but I don't want her to be with anybody else, and all this other stuff. And I was like, what? So, like, what do you mean? Like, what? How could you say that at this point? Then there's, like, it feels like the characters are not, like, Armin and Eren don't really act like themselves during that whole sequence as well, which I find off-putting. I don't know if it's just because, like, Dream World's different, bro, or I don't know what the reason is, but it just...
Well, I guess my question to you then, did Armin feel like himself talking to Zeke earlier in this episode?
Because
I think it's just that scene is poorly written, personally, but...
Like, he's talking to Zeke building the sand castles and stuff. I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's essentially still a dream world, you know, so I don't think it's dream world makes you act kind of kooky.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it again. It kind of, I don't understand like why they start to act different in those worlds, or maybe I just didn't understand the character, and that's, I don't know. But yeah, the whole dream sequences was kind of weird. The Nikasa kiss thing, I'm really upset that Isaac mentioned it because I truly did forget about it. Um, and then kind of rolling into like everybody's like nobody has the Titan power anymore, and like Mikasa kind of goes off on her own. I was like, what, where, what? I don't know. I Yeah, I don't know. She didn't really let Eren go. She just kind of was like, I need to go like bury him and do whatever. And then we see like all these like different lifetimes happen, which I thought was like kind of interesting, but also I don't know.
So
I don't
this
know what I was supposed
is
to take from it.
so this is
This is
the
Aaron
last
Ackerman
page.
going to the tree. Yeah.
Yeah. So when in the manga you get this.
Mm.
You get like a post.
Oh, is this just a thank you for reading? Like this isn't canon, right?
Think it's so edgy.
I don't know.
The
I would
nerd.
assume so. I would
Since
assume
it said
so.
thanks for reading, I thought it was just a cute little goodbye page from the mangaka. I wouldn't take because like Naruto kind of ends with him being like, "Yeah, thanks for reading my book," and it's just like him in like street clothes, and I didn't take that as canon.
But I do find this interesting though.
Yeah,
And they
Attack
talk about
was-
sequels. I do find it hilarious.
The end credits. Oh,
what is up with homie in the back of the theater?
He's missing a face.
Oh, that is interesting.
I do find it interesting that boy next to the tree looks like Mikasa. Doesn't look like Eren.
Yep.
Which makes me think, is he a descendant of Mikasa? That apparently this family would always revisit the tree. That would be an interesting theory.
Scarf.
Yes.
Definitely.
So and his job is to visit the tree.
Yeah, go see her.
So if he's an Ackerman, he can't get Titan powers. We solved
That's
it.
just a theory.
A game theory.
And cut. Oh wait, that's different series.
Well, is it just a theory though? Because we saw them like kind of in the gas. So if they were gonna become a Titan, then they would have
No, the theory
we
of it
know
being
that they don't
related to Mikasa because we don't have that confirmed.
Oh, that kid. Like maybe the bloodline got
no,
diluted
but
or
the
something.
kid has the scarf and and the hair and the face. He looks like Mikasa.
Yeah, but like
he's also going to the tree. It's open to interpretation. That's all.
Again, I'm just giving mine.
I mean,
so
go ahead, Jamie.
No, I have no thoughts. I have no thoughts at all.
I don't know, guys. I think we've done the thing.
No, actually, I do have a thought.
Go.
Let's go.
There was talks about there being another Attack on Titan series, or like not necessarily a sequel, but something else to come from this show. I was thinking it could be, and I feel like other people have talked about this, but like a show about Levi's childhood.
Stop this man. Attack on Titan.
By the way, people that hate on Dragon Ball GT are not right. It's decent. It's not great.
Not right.
But it's decent.
The best thing for me was the Super Saiyan 4 transformation. That's the best thing. I haven't seen a lot of GT, admittedly, but that's partially because people say don't watch it. So
see, Eren did what he did so that you would have a choice.
Funny that you mentioned the prequel of Levi, because it's actually confirmed that he will do a prequel manga with Levi.
Well, there you go. We'll get to see Levi.
Well, I mean, they can do the whole. They have an entire manga series called Before the Fall, which is like should be very interesting if they animate it. I didn't see that picture. Vegeta flat top.
That was horrid.
Hey, age, bro. But do we want more Attack on Titan? I think I've had enough. I don't need more. There's a
Sequel,
lot.
no. Prequel, I'm open for.
Yeah, prequels are good. I could do. But see, I don't want a prequel like the ones that we have already on paperback. Like you have a couple with Mikasa
My God,
and Annie. You have the Before the
What am
Fall.
I looking at?
Do you guys?
is that a rough draft?
Yes.
Okay, thank goodness. I was supposed to be like, is this the manga y'all were talking about? Because if so, how did you read
See,
anything?
You see,
I link it in the chat. You can see it more properly.
see,
Okay.
if we're gonna have
Thank
a
you, sir.
prequel, I want a prequel like the grandkids of Emir, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the House of the Dragon kind of thing. That's the kind of prequel that I want.
Oh man, I don't like the characters in House of the Dragon though. I think all of them suck. All of them.
Okay, but the concept,
Is that not the point?
I don't know.
correct? They all suck themselves. So, like, yeah, like I don't want a prequel of characters that I already know. I want to go into like the fall of Eldia, like how Eldia ended up falling apart. You know what I mean? That's kind of the ones that I want to look at.
Mm.
If it's not something like that, I'm not interested. I think I've had enough. I had my fill. And we better not give this kid Titan powers. I'm gonna be mad.
Oh man, thinking about the like give yours kids made me think of that meme somebody posted in anime where it's like they're all sitting around like Mimir's like dead body like eating her and Luffy's in the back like, hey, are you gonna eat that?
That was Isaac's meme.
That was funny.
No,
Geek
that
fiction.
that wasn't mean.
No, no,
I,
he was saying
I
that was
put-
your
put the-
meme.
No, it wasn't. The
Okay.
thing I was the thing I was posting
The
was
meme is out there in the universe. That's all that matters.
was me
Yeah.
posting Aaron when he's all psycho, but they're laughing at you. Eat his fruit. That was me. I have no recollection of the thing you are talking about.
Oh, you should look at it. It's funny.
So,
Anyway,
do you guys have? Do you want
I didn't
more
answer.
Attack on Titan?
No, I do not. Attack on Titan is a series that, and it's the blessing and the curse of AOT of like, once you reveal everything behind the curtain, right? Once we get the full picture, I'm satisfied. I don't need to see more. Like a Levi prequel, I don't need that. I know what happens to Levi, and I know I am a person who actually really enjoys prequels, but like seeing Levi kill a bunch of Titans isn't gonna hit the same when I know those Titans are people, and I know that eventually Aaron could have just turned those people back into normal dudes, and it's like that's not good. That's not as fun when they're just random monsters. It's cool, but it's like that's not fun anymore for me. I know what happens to Levi. I think I've gotten enough of Levi's backstory with Kenny, his relationship with Erwin, with Hanji, where I don't need to see more of that. And I don't need to see more of this universe, period. I think it should just end here. Whereas Naruto or My Hero Academia, you can kind of do that because it's like, yeah, we're following new heroes because that's just how that world is built. Attack on Titan very much starts and ends with Aaron's story. And I don't think it's worth pursuing anything else in that world.
That's a fair assessment.
I wouldn't be mad if they decided to do the Levi people. I wouldn't be mad if they decided to leave things here. Either way.
I need the house.
Plus, it's got that.
Treatment.
It's
I
got
don't need
that
it, but I want it now.
Game of Thrones thing exactly of like, we could leave it here, and I could just be kind of mad at the ending, or you can come back with something that I didn't know I wanted, and it's like, yeah, this is why I like this series. I forgot. So I'm open to being surprised,
and it's like
but as
the
it stands
series
now, I don't need this.
Yeah, and there's like a gap of 2,000 years that we have no idea what's happened. Because the whole thing for you in 1,000 years or whatever, Emir lived 2,000 years prior to the event of the series. I believe that's what it means. So it's like, we got time. Like, if we wanted to, like, I want them to expand the lore. That's all that I would care about, because like you said, I agree with you, Mike. The cat's out of the bag. So, how do we make it interesting? Like to actually see Emir's daughters eat Emir. You know what I mean?
Mm. That's the scene you want to see, huh?
And then Luffy be like, "Hey, you gonna eat that?" She's got the meme. No, because it's funny. Because see, I am gonna say this. Like, talk about a show that never wasted any second of any episode, right? Like, if you remember the first sight of people eating people that were not Titans eating people, but people eating people, was during the outro of the second season. Did you guys remember that?
Yeah, that was Jamie's favorite outro.
That was
where you
creepy.
see, where you see Emir, and that's the children of Emir, which you wouldn't have thought like, oh, that's what it is. And then when the whole Titans eating people, yeah, see, yeah, give me that.
I'm good,
Yeah,
Chief.
fine.
I'd like Isayama to start on a new book, personally. I think that's what I would rather.
I think he's working on something already. I think he's talked about a different book. So
yeah, I would much rather, like, I love the author and what they've done with this series for 90% of it. So, like, I think I would much rather them try something new, make a new universe, a new story.
super smartphone. Oh no, that's a different one. Hey,
Hasn't that manga ended?
I don't know because I've never read it because it sounds a little dumb in my book. In my book.
Did we do the thing, guys? Like Angela Bassett?
Huh?
I think we did the thing.
We did the thing. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So these are our thoughts. These are our thoughts on the series finale of Attack on Titan. Mixed, but grand. I mean, we still have to say it's a historic event, and everybody would have their own appreciation, hate, love for it. But then again, the best shows produce these types of conversations, and I can't wait. It's funny. This is the only anime that I think has officially ended that we've covered. You know what I mean? Like, it's ended.
Yeah, it definitely is. That's like, you made a whole dang anime OP for this episode, which shout outs to you, Brandon. That was sick.
That was really cool. Good. I was like, where did you get this?
No, but like, this is the first grand finale we've ever had on this show, and that is insane. Because I mean, you and Isaac started this like 3-4 years ago now.
Almost, yeah. I think the next ending that we're gonna have is gonna be My Hero, because that's the only one that I can see that it's getting close to it. Because I think
JK.
Well, no, I think My Hero ends first, manga wise.
Wait, is the manga over?
Okay.
No,
JK is in it. Okay. But it's on. He has said that he is extending it, but it's in the last.
Jujutsu Kaisen. If I were to,
it's close to release. No, so close to ending. Gege said that.
Here's what I would say. No spoilers. So I was trying to say it in a way with no spoilers. Currently, where season 2 ends of Jujutsu Kaisen, it's the same as getting Bakugo back.
Yeah.
So you have like half of the series still to go. So
then what is Isaac talking about? My Hero's definitely going to end first.
He's talking about the manga, because the manga right now is within season 6, season 7 territory of My Hero. But I think My Hero is definitely going to end first.
I'm still confused because I don't think we've covered the JJK manga, so I'm still confused by Isaac.
We haven't.
That's okay. We're good.
Yeah. We're good.
I'm honestly wondering if we should start, even though we didn't start from the beginning. Honestly. But then again, it's going all haywire after a specific chapter. So I don't know.
I am going to say this. If you love what we do here at the Amateur Otaku Podcast, make sure you click on that like button, subscribe, and click on the bell for notifications so you don't miss any anime goodness. We do anime content, shorts, and videos every single week. So make sure you stay tuned and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of it. Let us know on the comments below your thoughts on the ending of Attack on Titan. Did you prefer the original manga ending better, the manga rewrite, or the anime ending? Which one did you prefer? If you hated all three of them, likewise, let us know what your thoughts were. We loved the series, deferred on a taste of the ending, but still was a great conversation to have. Guys, you guys had anything else to add?
The show is great. I enjoyed the rewatch.
See you later, Aaron.
See you
Butt
later.
cheeks.
The last Sasageo. Let's all give a salute. The last salute. Last one. Sasageo, guys. Have it awesome. Peace.
Peace.